Hello everybody. This video is the third one in my series where I create my own planet. So if you haven't seen the first two videos already, go check them out. With that out of the way, let's begin. Now, for those who are just joining the rest of us in the last episode we looked over at different animal species and two plant and algae-like organisms, along with the first development of an exoskeleton, eyes, legs, a really primitive endoskeleton, and even blood. Today's period's name is Vantra, and it too, along with the Ooze-taken one, doesn't see such an enormous level of diversification like what we're going to see in the next episode, which is going to be sort of an equivalent to our own Cambrian period. But during Vantra, animals continued to adapt and evolve, developing even more complex forms, like a beak. In this strange and alien world, beaks appeared before teeth, as it at first started by a mutation, because of which, harder matter such as collagen and calcium started growing on the mouth, allowing the predator in question to bite harder and more efficiently. One of the first animals which developed such a formation on both their jaws is a descendant of Opertuk. It is called Galabuk, and along with a beak, it adapted several other complex features. Such as the fact that they have to constantly keep moving so water moves in and around the gills, but because of how the two fins of the animal are connected with both of the jaws, the animals has also got to constantly move its jaws. Moreover, not only that, even if it slightly opens or closes its mouth, the fins will slightly change their position, but also if it stops for even just 5 seconds to rest, it is risking to suffocate. A similar thing is happening to one of the descendants of Galgatka, although they have also widened a bit, that's not their main change. In the early stages of their lives, the young Inuakas are very vulnerable. But after they get to a certain point in life, their body is able, and does in fact, grow calcium on the end of its tail. I'm going to show you exactly how they do it on this diagram. So first of all, they have nothing. But suddenly, the body starts secreting calcium on their backside, which causes it to harden. Then this formation begins expanding over time, and when the individual starts approaching the age of sexual maturity, a flow of calcium from the hardened part of the tail goes towards the shell, where it both hardens it even more and expands it until the backside of the creature has retained its first form, that being as soft and wiggly as it first was. This then allows for the animal to even continuously go in and out of the shell whenever it pleases, including for reproduction, which would be one of the times they are most vulnerable at. In other, most times, when the creature feels threatened, it goes into its shell, which depending on the species we're looking at, might be able to close. Another interesting animal which I mentioned in my last video was Gilabi. It evolved from a jellyfish-like ancestor, but instead of adapting and evolving to be just yet another jellyfish in these primordial alien oceans, it took on a different path. At the end of the last episode, it had adapted a second mouth-like structure, with there being multiple appendages available to grasp food for each of the mouths. Well, Gilabi continued on evolving on this path, eventually looking like this. We're also going to call it Gilubia from now on. Sadly, Monstracantium, the giant terror worm inhabiting the oceans of the period of Ooze-taken, didn't leave any descendants even up to the Vantran period, because they all starved to death, since they couldn't consume enough food to sustain their unfathomably large bodies for this period. Plants and algae-like organisms of this period, especially Mochaima and Ocranum, continued looking and behaving in the same way, with the only difference being that they grew larger and larger as time went on and on. Other animals and organisms from this period include ones such as Haitsuji, Percaharn, Pitsku, Ma'ikuma, Lazandura, Waisrosaurus, etc. Now, I am at first going to show you how a fight between Galabuk and Inuaka would play out, as well as how the planet of Rustaria looked during the period of Vantra, which continued for over 1.5 billion years. Thanks for watching.
Εξομολογήστε το Κύριο διαγαθός, αλληλούια, ότι στον αιώνα